Interview with Emma Shaw. Answers provided by Emma Shaw, Lead on Community and Impact, Senior Consultant at Tilting the Lens. 1. What does disability inclusion achieve that representation doesn't? Representation is truly important. It helps people feel seen, and it matters, especially to younger people, a child, who may not be used to seeing people who look or experience the world like they do. But inclusion goes much deeper. Inclusion means making sure that disabled people are not just featured, but are actively shaping the environment, designing the clothes, directing the campaigns, advising on the strategy, and being paid fairly for their valuable lived experience and expertise. At Tilting the Lens, we're committed to amplifying disabled people's ideas, ensuring that our projects not only include disabled perspectives, but are genuinely driven by them. While representation can exist in a room designed without you in mind, inclusion is about being invited into that room, having access and the respect needed to participate fully, and being empowered to transform the space if it doesn't work for you. Inclusion is about shared power, not just visibility. It embraces a mindset that adds depth to our world through unique insights, innovative ideas, and design intelligence. I truly believe that our team at Tilting the Lens try to embody this understanding in all our efforts. We focus on fostering welcoming environments where everyone feels valued and can express their perspectives, collaborating to reshape conversations and methods of working in impactful ways. 2. How do creative consultancies aid brands considering disability representation? Creative consultancies, especially those led by disabled people, act as trusted partners, helping brands move beyond surface-level gestures into meaningful, sustained inclusion. If the consultants are disability-led, they can provide guidance rooted in lived experience, offering practical and strategic support with care, honesty, and clarity. We are not a creative consultancy specifically, but in some of our work at Tilting the Lens, we support brands and businesses in and understanding the social and systemic barriers that disabled people face. Elaborate to develop inclusive campaigns, products, and experiences that emphasize equity and creativity. Embedding inclusive thinking into each stage of the design and development process, ideally starting from ideation. Build meaningful relationships with disabled talent, audiences, and communities in ways that are mutually enriching and respect everyone's contributions. Consultancies can play a crucial role in helping brands transform their culture beyond mere marketing. In this way, disability inclusion can become a core value rather than just an additional campaign. 3. What current solutions is the fashion industry utilizing to increase disability inclusion? Fashion is making strides, but there's still a long way to go. It's heartening to see more disabled models and influencers playing a vital role in campaigns, and the emergence of adaptive fashion lines in stores. We've also been witnessing some genuine efforts to enhance accessibility at shows and events. However, it sometimes feels like these changes are still disconnected from the industry's main structures. Inclusion needs to be wholeheartedly embraced by the fashion industry, influencing the way we think, design, and create from day one. This means bringing disabled designers into studios, helping to shape collections from those first sparks of inspiration, all the way to the runway. To make this a reality, we must prioritize accessibility in education, not just in design, but also throughout the many facets of fashion, like communications, styling, production, and business. Embracing this approach could empower more disabled individuals to step into leadership roles within fashion, both in creative studios and within the executive suites. This is why we partnered with the Parsons School of Design through. In December 2023, we launched the Parsons Disabled Fashion Student Program, a 4-year pilot to support disabled and multiply marginalized students via recruitment, scholarships, and mentorship. Our goal is to create an inclusive and equitable pathway into fashion, opening doors to one of the world's leading design schools. Because genuine change entails opening the door and ensuring it stays open and welcoming to everyone. 4. What future solutions can the fashion industry apply to increase disability inclusion? To truly move forward, the industry must commit to hiring disabled people across all levels, from interns to leadership, embedding access in every stage of the design and production process, creating clothes for all bodies, not just adjusted versions of existing lines, partnering with disabled creatives as CO designers and consultants, not just models, and measuring inclusion by lived impact. Who's in the room, who's paid, and who feels safe, not just by who appears in campaigns. Reimagining recruitment to eliminate ableist barriers, offer transparent, accessible pathways into roles, and reduce the fear that many disabled people feel about self-identifying in the workplace. Fashion must also recognize disability as a creative and cultural asset, not a limitation. We are fortunate to work with brands that are truly intentional about this work and realize that it is most definitely not about perfection, it's about progress. This journey takes time. 5. Does intersectionality play a role when considering disability representation? Yes, absolutely, and it must. A person of color with a disability, a queer individual with a disability, or someone with another marginalized identity experiences fashion in a distinctly different way, compared to someone facing just one type of exclusion. Intersectionality allows us to fully understand the situation. It highlights who is left out of even so-called inclusive environments, whose narratives are celebrated, and whose are ignored. It serves as a reminder that representation is not merely a checkbox, it is complex, layered, and dependent on context. To genuinely include individuals with disabilities, we need to ask which disabled individuals we are referring to. Additionally, we should consider who remains unrepresented and for what reasons. 6. Why has disability been left out of the diversity debate? Disability is frequently misunderstood, feared, or ignored, often viewed as complex, uncomfortable, or incompatible with aspirational industries like fashion. For too long, disability has been approached more through medical labels and hidden from view, rather than celebrated for its distinctiveness. The frameworks that define the fashion industry were not created with disabled bodies in mind, making it difficult for those in these communities to envision themselves as part of it. At Tilting the Lens, we often say, "You don't know what you don't know," and I believe that in many cases, people overlook disability simply because it hasn't impacted them directly, or because they fear saying something wrong. But we cannot ignore disability, or avoid the conversation, simply because we fear making mistakes. Things are shifting, thanks to passionate disabled individuals leading the change. By organizing, creating, designing, and taking charge, the community is no longer waiting on the sidelines for a seat at the table. We are actively crafting our own spaces and warmly inviting the industry to join us on this journey. I never disclosed my mental health disability in the workplace until I joined Tilting the Lens. For over a decade, I worked in fashion without sharing my condition. Why? Because I was afraid. I worried about being perceived as less capable or judged for my ability to perform my job. Disability should not be just a minor topic in the diversity conversation, it is central to it. Until the industry recognizes this truth, it can never achieve genuine inclusivity.